Hey, what's up, shitheads? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be doing something I've wanted to do for quite a while, and we're going to be visiting a lot of the true life locations of the Manson family. And right now, we're starting out in Chatsworth, California, at a location known as the Garden of the Gods. Now, this has been used for the filming for countless westerns, TV shows, all sorts of stuff. And if you just look around, you can see why. It's very scenic. Just down the road from here is the location of Spahn Ranch, which served as the de facto home for the Manson cult. Now, the original ranch burned down, but we're going to go there and see what's left of it. Talk about some of the history of the Manson family and see what these locations look like today. No better bike to do that all on than the Mini Goat itself. But let's take a quick peek around the Garden of the Gods, and then we'll go ahead and go check out Spahn Ranch. Come on, guys, let's get started. As you can hear, you can see exactly why they would choose this for the location to film like Western movies and such. Funny to see it now because there's houses and condos built directly up to the location, but right here, just look at it. I mean, doesn't this look like the backdrop to a Western movie? I've seen a few other channels come out here and give you like a lot of breakdowns of which different movies and stuff were filmed in here. John Wayne movies have been filmed out here, all sorts of stuff. But I just want to show you this real fast. This was used in a TV show, and they carved their names in here. I don't remember exactly what show it's from.
Don't make it hard for me, Cedric.
Nobody never comes up here. Nobody never comes up here but you and me.
Don't make me do it.
Ever since we was kids, we carved our names up here together.
Now that's preserved in history, right here at the Garden of the Gods. Very beautiful, scenic area, just outside of Los Angeles, California. But we're not going to be spending much time at the Garden of the Gods today, as we have a lot of ground to cover. This definitely would not be my first choice for a bike to ride on terrain like this. As a matter of fact, just riding the short distance in here, I bottomed out quite a few times. But unlike a lot of other e-bike channels, guys, I use my bikes a lot, and I definitely abuse them. And just before we get really started here, this is my car. I actually took only one bike down here for my trip, and I decided on the Mini Goat because we got a lot of ground to cover. And this is the one bike that can do it all. Right before we head over to Spahn Ranch, or what's left of it, wanted to point out something more in the Garden of the Gods. You can see, if you look around the scenery right here, that one rock that's pointing out there in the distance, that is the rock that was used in the introduction of the Lone Ranger TV series.
A fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty hi-yo silver. Hi-yo silver! Oh!
You know, the hi-yo silver, he rides around the corner, comes up on his horse, right next to that rock right there. So I believe that was like in the 1930s or something, black and white TV show, etched into history right there. We head to the location of Spahn Ranch. Now, I like the park right here, the Garden of the Gods. Spahn Ranch is a quick shot down the road, but there's no parking right next to it, so you kind of have to park a little bit away from it. Spahn Ranch was owned by a guy named George Spahn, and it was used as a Western backdrop. It was like a little Western town, and it was used for different movies, and I guess you could even come here and go like horseback riding and stuff like that. So I even saw an interview with Bryan Cranston. He said he came out here when he was a kid to go horseback riding and had a little encounter with Charles Manson himself.
We're late 68, I think, fall, and we were renting our horses, and some guy came in and started screaming, "Charlie's on the hill! Charlie's on the hill!"
So the Manson family finagled their way into being workers or assistants over here at Spahn Ranch. I'm gonna hate to be somewhat anticlimactic because you're looking at what's left of Spahn Ranch right now. There's really nothing to see from this portion. It was right here. It burned down sometime in 1970, I believe. And this is what is left. I'm gonna have to keep my eyes peeled because we're in Southern California, and this is definitely rattlesnake central. I've seen multiple videos of people come out here and they kind of line it up, but there's a ravine back there, which is where we're going to be going, which is where some of the relevant areas are at. But this is where Spahn Ranch was at right there. If you look in the background, there's some like big rocks back there, and I'll try and show you an old picture of Spahn Ranch, and you can see those rocks in the pictures. History took place right here, and the Manson family used to inhabit these very grounds right here in 1967, 68, 69. Not too much to see these days. I guess after the ranch burned down, they came in here with bulldozers and they just pushed everything into the ravine back there. So there's not really much to see, but I guess if you start digging through, you can see like nails, barbed wire, all that stuff. All the things that were on the ranch, all the leftovers, they just pushed it right down the hill. I find it fascinating how when nature will just take over. There used to be structures here, and now if you came through and you didn't know, you'd think nothing. This is just an empty field, but this wasn't always an empty field. This is where the Manson family had their commune. This is their base of operations. I heard there was at one point up to 35 members, and it was 2/3 female, and a lot of their escapades took place right here. George Spahn kind of let them stay here. The Manson family, before they were murderers, they were known for being car thieves. And there was a big raid here at the ranch on August 16th, just about a week after the Sharon Tate murders and La Bianca murders that took place right here. But that was actually for stolen cars. And more on that in a minute. But after the raid took place, they kind of outgrew their welcome, and they had to leave from here, and they went to a place called Barker Ranch, which is out in Death Valley. I've actually been there once before, and maybe I'll go again at another date, but it is very remote. If you ever come out here yourself, keep in mind, if you go up the hill that direction, that is private property. We didn't come here to see this empty field. We're gonna go back to the ravine down there, and I'll show you some stuff that remains today. See, looking around on the ground here, you can see an old nail, probably from one of the old structures that was here. I don't know, to me, maybe I'm just a nerd or something, but I really enjoy being places where like historical events took place. It's an eerie feeling. I mean, now this is just an empty field, but at one point in time, this was a bustling area. People would come here to go on horseback rides, to see the little western town, and now it's this. A lot of these people were, at one point, just normal folks. And through drug use, isolation, being brainwashed, they ended up doing some very horrific things. So a little further down the road here, you can go behind this entry here, and this will take you down into the ravine. Many goats, definitely not what I would prefer to be taking down here. But guys, we gotta deal with the card we're dealt, right? So this trail goes back behind the remnants of the ranch and into the ravine below. I just don't wanna meet some weirdos back here that are like Manson fanboys or apologists or, you know, whatever. I find this stuff fascinating. I'm definitely no fan of Charles Manson. Guy was a scumbag who ruined many, many lives. Manson family is responsible for 9 murders. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We're in the ravine behind Spahn Ranch. Spahn Ranch used to be up on that hill. It burned down. They pushed a lot of the debris down here. But right here is what they refer to as the Manson Family Cave. Because after Charles Manson was arrested and everything, some of the remaining family members, they did a piece on them with Time magazine, and they came here and they took a picture of some of the family sitting in that concave right there, and they call it the Manson Family Cave. Now further down this road, and it's something I doubt we'll be able to get to today, are they called the baby caves? And that was like a little hideout they had that's further down this creek bed, but that's unfortunately on private property, and to get down there you have to climb a really steep hill. So I'll check it out, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to go there today because of a few reasons. But they call it the baby caves because if they had any trouble or they had to hide out and anyone needed to hide out, they could say, go to the baby caves, and it was down there. You could have a bonfire in there, nobody would even know. And when I heard, they said they had an old military phone line going from the ranch to out there so they could communicate with people that were hidden off in the cave. Now, that cave is about a quarter mile or half mile or so down this creek bed in that direction, but it's on private property. I'll check it out. We're gonna check out another location that direction, but this is what's called the Manson Family Cave right here. You can see this would be like a prime place to have a campgrounds right here. Like this, we got this perfect, nice little cove back here. And so that right here, you'll see this rock that's been cut in half. Now they called this Charlie's Rock because apparently at some point he had his name carved into this rock. Locals got tired of people coming here and like, you know, they didn't want it here anymore. Somebody came out here and they cut it. They cut that section of the rock off and it's gone. So maybe somebody has that in their private collection or something, who knows. But this is what's known as Charlie's Rock. Supposedly he'd come here and sit on this rock, play guitar, and they would do all sorts of crazy stuff down here. Now up the hill on the ranch, you know, from what I was reading, it sounded like it was very debaucherous. Orgies, drug use, just crazy stuff going on at all time. And you know, I'm not gonna lie, some of it sounded like a good time. And for a long time, they were just car thieves. But later in '69, in July, they did the first murder of a man named Gary Hinman. Now, I don't know where the location for that's at, so today we're not gonna cover that, but that was the first confirmed murder of the Manson family. And what you'll notice is a lot of the theme with these is Charlie Manson himself would orchestrate these murders, but he himself was too chicken shit to participate in them. So he would send his followers to go do those murders, and then he himself would not be there. But it's interesting being in these places where these people once stood. Their lives took place right here. And as you get older, you start to realize that this whole planet, you know, we're only here for a very brief time. We're sharing the land that a lot of people have used over the years. And I just find it fascinating to go to the same places where historical events took place. And right here, very historical. And as of now, you can still come out here and check it out. Put stuff out here. A lot of the graffiti is Manson themed. People put carvings out here. All sorts of stuff. Can fault them for a lot of stuff, but finding nice spots is not one of them. So like I mentioned, the Manson family was a notorious car thief ring, and they specifically would steal Volkswagen products and convert them into dune buggies because they would use the dune buggies out at Barker Ranch, was out in the desert. But would you believe me if I told you some of those very same stolen Volkswagens are still out here for you to see yourself? Well, guys, I wouldn't lie to you. Let's go out and check it out. Come on, let's go. I have to say, being around out here, walking around by yourself, it's kind of creepy, man. I can't shake but the feeling like someone's watching me. You guys hear that? I don't know. Oh God, God. So, here we are back on the mini goat. The bike that can do it all, or at least in this choice, the bike that has no choice but to do it all. Pretty steep, guys. Okay, we're gonna come back out here to Santa Savannah Pass Road. And as I mentioned a few times, the Manson family were notorious car thieves. And they would use Spahn Ranch as kind of a chop shop for their operation. But if we go about a quarter mile, half mile down the road, you can see the location where they in fact used to dump all their cars they stole. And believe it or not, a lot of them are still there today. Now, I vastly prefer riding in this scenario with the mini goat than I do on those tight trails. But I had a choice of a lot of bikes to bring, and I chose the mini goat, if that tells you anything. Sacrifices were made for today's ride, but in the near future, I will be glad I chose the mini goat. Okay, here we are. That's probably closer to a mile down the road, down Santa Susana Pass Road. And you'll see that Santa Susana Pass Road. Down that ravine a little ways is the remains of Spahn Ranch. And right here, this is an old stagecoach road. You'll see this road follows along the side of the hill. This was used for stagecoaches back in the 1800s. And right down this hill is where the Manson family would come and dump a lot of those stolen Volkswagens. As a matter of fact, if you look off in the distance right there, I can see the remains of one. And I'm not gonna be climbing down there. You can see it's quite overgrown, but there is a lot of them down in that ravine right there where you can still see them today after all these years. It's one thing with these dry climates, stuff lasts for a very long time. So it's really interesting to know that a bunch of those are still there that you can feast your eyeballs on to this very day. Last time I came here, it was a very wet year, so it was much more overgrown than it is now. So I'm gonna try and go down this stagecoach road a little bit, see if we can't see a better view. Because I guess there's rumors that further down this trail, there's even more cars. I'm guessing this was in better condition back in the day, because as of now, you definitely wouldn't be able to put a car on this road. That was, people used to own them and drive them on the road, but now they're just sitting down here at the bottom of this ravine, lost to history. Who knows, maybe one of your family members had their Volkswagen stolen by the Manson family in the 60s and they didn't even know it. And that car is probably sitting out here in this field. So I'm gonna go down this old stagecoach road a bit. And I've heard rumors that there's supposedly some other cars down here. We'll see, I'm not really sure. But I came all the way out here, might as well, right? The last time I came here, this was all like completely overgrown. Oh, wow, check that out. Wow, really nice views out here. If these hills could talk, I bet you they'd have a lot of stories to share. Stuff's been going on out here for hundreds of years. All I'm seeing is good views from here. I'm not seeing any abandoned cars. All right, so I went as far as I'm willing to go today. I didn't see those other cars. So if any of you guys have been out here before and perhaps know where they are, you can let me know in the comments. But I'm gonna go ahead and throw that up. But aside from actually missing cars, there's really a lot of nice scenic trails out there. Definitely worthy of a hike or a ride to go out there and check it out. There was just a trail starting to go all over the place. Really pretty too. The Sharon Tate murders took place on August 8th and 9th, 1969, and the La Bianca murders took place on August 10th, 1969. But about a week later, Barker Ranch was raided, and a lot of the Manson family was arrested. And they were raided not for the murders, but they were raided for all the car thefts. But due to a clerical error, I guess I had the wrong date on the search warrant, a lot of them were let go, which is really funny to think, just a stupid mistake like that, and they were all let go again. So although they already committed the murders at that time, they weren't being held for the murder and they were let go. They weren't actually caught until a couple months later. But after that, Charles Manson was very paranoid that a ranch hand at Spahn Ranch named Donald Shorty Shay reported them to the police, causing that raid in the first place. And it was said that after Charles Manson got out of jail, his brief stint in jail, his number one thought was revenge, and he wanted to pay back Donald Shorty Shay. And sadly, he became one of the victims of the Manson family, and that murder took place right here on the outskirts of Spahn Ranch, and I'm gonna go show you that right now. So that's Stagecoach Road we were at is probably about a mile to the west of Spahn Ranch, and where we're about to go right now is just about a half mile or quarter mile to the east. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, just a bit further down the road, you'll see this little turn-in right here, and hopefully I can get my bike out of sight over here. I think I can. Although it wouldn't be very easy to steal this bike due to its heavy weight. Somebody would have to pick it up and drag it off. I make sure to take the key out every time when I get out. So right here, right down that center pass road right here, you'll see this little turn-in, and right down here, there's this culvert. And like I said, Charles Manson was paranoid. He thought that Donald Shorty Shay had reported him to police, causing the raid in the first place. So it was all males that killed Shorty Shay, and it was Charles Manson, Tex Watson, Steve Grogert, I think, and Bruce Davis. 4 of them had Shorty Shay drive them. Steve Grogert, apologies in advance, I might be saying some of these names wrong, but he hit him from behind with a pipe wrench. They took him out of the car, they took him to this culvert right there, and that's where they killed him. And it was said that they could hear his screams from Spahn Ranch, which is pretty far down the road, but I'm guessing if it's nighttime, maybe you'd be able to hear it. But that's right there where they killed Shorty Shay. So in this little storm drain right off the side of the road, right down the hill from the Lone Ranger Rock, is where a man was murdered right there. And they didn't take his body too far away, and I'm not going to go there now because this is very overgrown and it gets really steep. But right down this hill over here, through these bushes, extremely overgrown, it starts to get really steep down there, and that's where they buried his body. And I think it was Steve Grogert. I feel like I'm saying that name wrong. He used that as a plea deal to get him a reduced sentence. He eventually told authorities where his body was located, and they found his bones down that hill, probably 30 yards or so from right where I'm standing. It was said that Charles Manson would come in this tree and sit in this tree and play guitars. So it seems like everything in this general vicinity has a connection to the Manson family. Lucky day, guys, I brought a flashlight with me. See, it goes in fairly far, and it looks like right about at the end of there, that tube banks and goes up or down the hill. Kind of creepy. I'm definitely not going to be going in there. A man was murdered right here. Weird, right? So much history in Southern California, and I like to come see this stuff firsthand, and might as well relay the stories while I'm here, right? Rest in peace, Donald Shorty Shay. Weird feeling knowing, like, you know, Charles Manson was in that tree. All this stuff took place, like, right here. You know, I read all these stories and you hear all these things growing up, see it on the news. It's easy to start thinking all this stuff's fake or it's a movie. Well, no, this stuff really happened, and these locations are real, and a lot of them you can still go see today. And what better way to do that than with a handy dandy e-bike, guys, right? Okay, I know the other location is down this hill, and there are some rocks down there. I don't really see a good way to get down there from right here. And I know you're not really supposed to be down on that side, so I don't really want to be pressing my luck. And I don't really have a good place to put my bike. I need to do a little bit more research to find out exactly where it's at before I just go parading down this hill. This is really steep. One of these days I'll make it down to that cave. Today's not going to be that day though, unfortunately. So you guys have it. I hope you like our little tour of Spahn Ranch. I find it really fascinating. A lot of these historical events took place right there, and all this stuff is there for you to check out for yourself if you want to. It's not off limits as of now, but eventually I'm guessing it will be. But anyways, guys, the next video, we're going to be retracing the steps that the killers took on the night of August 8th and morning of August 9th when the Sharon Tate murders happened, as well as the La Bianca murders happened the next night. So if you like doing stuff like this, guys, get yourself an e-bike, get outside, start doing these things. It's fun, you get exercise, and you can do it with a bike available from one of my affiliate links. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.